I'm going to do another video about manga because all the comic books I bought for the last 3 weeks disappointed me. So I finally have a pull list at my local comic book shop, which I've gone my entire life without having a pull list. I go pick up my comic books about every 3 weeks, so I got 3 weeks worth of comic books. Did a review looking at the new Mr. Miracle, but pretty much all my comic books that I got for the week disappointed me, which it was a slow 3 weeks there, so I can't remember how much it was, but it was a little over $20 for all my comic books, which isn't bad, but when you don't feel like you got your money's worth out of it, uh, yeah. So the reason I'm going to talk about this particular manga is it's actually really expensive. So if you look on the back, it's about $30 per volume. So this is volume 8. I think there's 12 volumes in total of Gundam Origin. This story, Gundam Origin, has been my introduction to the Gundam series. Listen to that, it's like a brick. So I was really unfamiliar with Gundam. And you see them everywhere. They're almost ubiquitous. The action figures are everywhere. If you ever go to Asia, you'll even see in certain large Asian cities, they'll have like promotional statues, kind of Gundams that are like 8 feet tall or something. And, you know, I'm familiar with the giant robot fighting genre. As a child, of course, I watched Power Rangers. I'm of a certain age, so I watched like the first few series or seasons of Power Rangers, and so I'm very familiar with giant robots fighting each other. What surprised me about this is how good the story is, and this is going to sound kind of ridiculous, but also how grounded in reality it is. So I'm kind of sci-fi'd out by this point in my life where I think comic books, especially from the big two, but especially from Marvel, are getting convoluted and off the rails, and the stories are unfollowable, and there's so much time travel garbage, and there's so much, you know, they're just not grounded enough in reality, and that the stakes aren't high enough because we'll retcon it out of existence, and, you know, the stories aren't taking place on a local enough. So it's like this giant, massive alien invasion, we're going to blow a bunch of stuff up, and then, hey, if that doesn't work, we're going to go back in time and save it, blah, 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 blah. I just read a spectacular Spider-Man story. Man, who writes that? Zdarsky, and it was very long. It was very, very good, but it was all time travel nonsense, which is a testament to the writer, but whatever. This is incredibly grounded in reality, so it's kind of realistic how it sets up this world, and the first couple of pages will walk you through that of each volume and give you a little bit of a background. So a little bit of a warning of something that would have disappointed me, and I don't feel like I'm actually giving anything away, but the first 4 volumes take place chronologically in a timeline, and then the next like 2 or 3 of the volumes are flashbacks. I hate that. I hate flashbacks, especially when you know what's going to happen, kind of. I hate prequels for that reason. That's why I can't watch Star Trek Discovery. I'm just going to get really angry if I watch it. But it was amazing to me how good those prequel issues are, and in fact, or volumes. The prequel volumes for the series so far have actually been my favorite, but this is volume 8, so we're back in the current timeline. I don't want to give too much away, but there's people are basically sent off to colonize space, so there are giant space colonies, and then the giant space colonies kind of develop their own ideology and rebel against the planet Earth. So you have the Federation, which are mainly, this is weird to say, but they're mainly Earthlings, and then the House of Zabi, I guess that's how you pronounce it, are many of the colonies have kind of banded together, and they're fighting this Federation. The war has taken a huge toll on humanity, and the Gundam, the actual Gundam, which we all know, even if we've never read or watched anything to do with Gundam, the real famous one, see if we can get that in focus, is a new piece of technology that's just rolled off the line. So it's light years ahead of any of the other, they call them mobile suits, but giant fighting robots. And it's going to tip the balance of this war, which has already, I think, killed like half of humanity or something like that in a relatively short amount of time. That's one of the other things that ground it so well, is the war is very, very short so far, and it's very, very, how do I say this? Just a lot of people die. A huge number of people die very quickly, and I love the art in it as well. So there are some backgrounds in it, uh, this one's gonna have one, I think, in the end, where it goes over the author and it'll tell you a little bit about. Well, this one doesn't, but some of the volumes have like a background about the writer and blah blah blah. And I guess he originally worked on the Gundam TV show from the 70s, I believe. But his art is really amazing. So if you're unfamiliar with manga, you're gonna have the first couple pages will be colorized and will usually be. I'm not familiar with art, but kind of like I want to say like paintings, like brush stroke kind of things, and then eventually you're gonna cut to where it's black and white. And almost every manga I've ever read does this. I think this Gundam Origin was serialized in something, but again, so you do have spaceships and you do have space colonies, but the war on Earth seems to be mostly fought with conventional means, but we're following the sort of spaceship and the mobile suits. And there's a young boy who kind of is the coming-of-age hero in it, and he's a great pilot. And then the most interesting character for me, though, is, of course, the enemy pilot, who goes by the nickname the Red Comet. And he has a really interesting backstory, so if you do get to those prequel volumes. But the other thing I want to talk about is I got this from my local library, and didn't cost me a cent. So yes, these volumes are really expensive. They're $30. If you actually got enough of these, you could build a very sturdy house out of them. But I don't pay anything. When I'm done, I return it. Because honestly, once I've read a book, I don't want it anymore. It's pointless for me to read a book and then have it sit on my shelves for the rest of my life. So I normally try to give them away anyway. So I don't want to buy volumes of this. But it's just an amazing story, and it didn't cost me anything. So I got this, and it has made my week a lot better, because my comic books that I actually paid for sucked this week. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you enjoy these manga videos. This is a strong recommend. And the thing is, it starts from the very, very beginning of Mobile Suit Gundam. So it's not like you're opening up, you know, the 14th series of Mobile Suit Gundam and you have no clue what the hell is going on. So it starts you through, and it basically holds your hand and walks you through. And that's why I recommend it. Definite pickup for anybody. Get it from your local library. That way you don't have to pay for it.